of Rights. I often tell people that you can't have the Second Amendment if you don't have the Fourth Amendment. The third-party records, the records you give up to Visa, MasterCard, your bank, to your telephone company, to your internet service provider, these records are yours. You have arrangements and agreements for privacy, and those contracts ought to be defended. The Fourth Amendment ought to be defended. Recently, we found out that not just a few of your records, but probably all of your records are being stored. Probably every phone user in the country has their private information being collected on a daily basis. They say this is over 1 billion phone records a day that are being collected and stored by the NSA. I think this is a tragedy. I think it's inconsistent with both the letter and the spirit of the Fourth Amendment. When the Fourth Amendment says about investigating with a warrant for a specific person or place or papers, I believe our founding fathers meant just that. They had at the same time something called writs of assistance when the founding farmers were active, and that were fought by people like James Otis. John Adams said that maybe this fight was the spark that led to the Revolutionary War. Fighting against the idea of general warrants, where soldiers wrote the warrants and then could go from house to house. These warrants weren't specified to a person, place, or thing. I think the right to privacy is one of the new fights of this century. The Supreme Court is going to have to take a stance on this. I will continue to try to lead the fight. I compliment all of the privacy groups who are involved, and I'm supportive of their efforts to challenge this. We hope you take this issue before the Supreme Court and let people know that with the internet, there is an expanded expectation for privacy. Thank you. Now my colleague Nathan White will read another statement from a former congressman.
This is from former Congressman Dennis Kucinich of Ohio. Dear friends of the United States Constitution, thank you for being here today. A personal commitment prevented me from joining you in person, but I am with you in spirit on this day of celebration. Article 6 of the Constitution requires that senators, representatives, and all executive and judicial officers swear an oath upon office. I took this oath 8 times through 16 years of service to our nation. I swore to, quote, support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same. I swore to defend the Constitution, and I take that oath to heart. I continue to carry a pocket-sized printing of the Constitution. Across the political spectrum, from left to right, this is the document that unites us in one nation and provides the framework for success. We must continue to work to protect this important document, even when it is under threat from our own government. Many of you will recall in the days after 9/11. On that sad day, we were attacked and innocent people lost their lives. Instead of responding by opening hearts and minds, in fear, we opened secret prisons and closed borders. It's not always remembered that the USA Patriot Act did not contain new ideas to implement lessons learned from the intelligence failures on that day. In more than 10 years since the Patriot Act was passed, it's been extended 3 times. Congress waits until the last minute and pushes the reauthorization bills through without serious public debate. Now, thanks in part to your actions and your effort to be here today, the American people are beginning to join the conversation about what is and what is not acceptable. It's up to us to make clear that we will not accept this encroachment on our constitutional rights. If you see something, say something.
We now have a message from Congressman Alan Grayson from Central Florida, House of Representatives. One of the great debates among the elected officials, among constitutional scholars, and among ordinary Americans is what is the continuing vitality of the U.S. Constitution today? What does it still mean to us? The Founding Fathers had no spaceship,